is that what Mamata Banerjee has been doing for the last 3-4 days, as they've been discussing, when she was waiting for the doctors to come to meet her at the Mamata Bhawan, the fact is that, that she is resorting to the old school politics. She's sending out message that, she was never against the student, and as long as possible for the students to come and voice their demand. She said that the only thing which she does not agree is that, the live telecast of the demand, but she is available for the students as long as, the students are willing to discuss. She has handed over, the entire gig. She had earlier promised that she will, the Kolkata police is not, will not be able to make any kind of, movement forward. And then when Mamata Banerjee arrives at the protesting sides to meet the doctor and saying that I am with you, and I have also risen through the fact that I have also risen through student politics. It's Mamata Banerjee trying to send a counter message that she is not as want to project her to be somebody who doesn't care for the doctors and all, and then she's trying to crack down on the doctors. She is now trying to project that, contrary to that, she is now more than willing to bend backwards to make sure that these protesting doctors go back to their the justice will be done. She also sent a signal that, that the only person who was responsible was arrested by Kolkata police, and she would demand that the Chief Justice, the CBI, would go and ask for death penalty for the said perpetrator of that ghastly crime of rape and murder of a resident doctor. So I think, this is a big outreach as far as Mamata Banerjee is concerned, and it's a very tactful change of politics. Earlier where she made it very clear which way the things are going to move, but ever since the Supreme Court has said that, the doctors on the 10th, that the doctors had to return back to a job at 5 p.m. on 11, she has adopted a very, soft approach towards the doctor. She has made sure that she's not going to say something which will be inflammatory, or even if you look at the way, the entire the conversation which was coming from Trinamool cadres and all, it has all died down. So it's clear that the Mamata Banerjee would want to raise back the initiative, and she feels that, the more this thing is allowed to go on, the better it will be for the Bharatiya Janata Party to walk in and take the center stage. And this is something which she would definitely not want. And that is the reason why Mamata Banerjee has today a big proactive approach, has reached where these doctors were protesting. So
well, Brijesh, also the factor is that in this speech, she also said that she is not ready to go ahead and, impose ESMA as it is done normally, the Essential Services Maintenance Act, which would in fact force the doctors to go back again. So she said she's not going to do it. She's giving them time for it. So again, she is in fact going ahead and giving that space for the doctors to come midway. But then you have a hearing on 17th itself. So it looks like a packed deadline before that hearing in the Supreme Court over this particular issue. And the doctors, in fact, continuing this particular strike. She has, in fact, claimed that health services have been affected because of this. Now, on two fronts, either the option of ESMA is there, which she says that she's probably not going to go ahead with it. But if the court comes and asks why the state government didn't go ahead with ESMA, it will be a difficult position for Mamata.
I don't think that it's going to be a difficult position for Mamata, Varghese. The simple reason is that she would not want to take that decision on her own. When she will take that decision, she always would want to fall back on the narrative that the court forced her hand. See, right now, as far as protesting student doctors going back to join their services and all, was also crystal clear. When the Supreme Court said that their demands, most of their demands, that the investigation be carried out by CBI and a central task force should be constituted. The Supreme Court took up, formed a central task force. 4 battalions of CRPF, CISF. Was dispatched to Kolkata to look after the RGK and other institutions nearby to make sure to provide security and ensure that no tampering of evidence is done. See, all that has been done. Now, the demands of the doctors are that these, the MHS be suspended, the police commissioner to be removed, and the principal secretary health to be removed. Is something which I don't think that Mamata Banerjee will be doing it in a hurry, because this will show a massive climb down, and this is something which Mamata Banerjee would not want to do. And right now, the demands of the doctor, most of the doctors, has already been met by the Supreme Court. So and the Supreme Court has already made it very clear that if the doctors join before 5th of this, then the state government will not take action. But after that, the state government is free to take action. So I think right now what Mamata is trying to do, give a long latitude to the doctors so that, even if she has to crack down, it doesn't come to her that, that she wanted to crack down. That's the reason why she immediately cracked down. That is the reason why she's giving doctors a lot of space, saying that, if I would have to crack asthma on the 11th itself. But the reason I didn't do it is because the fact that that she doesn't want to do it, and that is the reason why Mamata Banerjee is projecting her softer side. I think if you go by what the court is saying, I think Mamata Banerjee will wait, and on 17th, I think it's when the state government lawyer will say that that despite our efforts, efforts to meet them, we waited for 3 hours. It's not going to be that easy for the doctors also to wriggle out of that situation. So I think Mamata is this time is playing softly and is playing the gallery to make sure that the situation becomes all the more good for the state government. We've been on the back foot on this particular issue for a very long time now. Yes?
Well, Prashish, now the key aspect where this impasse is continuing is the live, telecast of that particular meeting with the doctors. Now, why is that it's become an impasse as such? Because Mamata has had a history of getting a lot of complex talks actually going live. But this particular talk, why is it that there is an impasse? Because the doctors have been saying that is the key. That is where everything falls flat, that they are not allowing for a live telecast.
Well, I think, the live telecast cannot become such a big issue as far as the doctor's situation is concerned. Because, as long as Mamata Banerjee is willing to meet them, as long as Mamata Banerjee is willing to have the entire issue video recorded, just the talks cannot take place just because it is not being telecasted live is one situation in which no court is going the state government. I think the demand of the doctors could be that that we videograph the entire conversation ourselves, and if need be, then we can air the conversation post the once the conversation is over. I honestly don't feel that that any court or anybody is going to give any two thoughts about this demands of the doctors, because it's a very unrealistic demand. I can understand the demands and the anger of the resident doctor, which is perfectly justified when they say that that this working hours should be improved, that there should be proper security on the campus, and then that Sanjay Ghosh should be taken task in whichever illegal activities he was involved with, be it financial, moral, or whatever. He should be taken to task, and all of the perpetrators who have any role to vis-a-vis the alteration of the crime scene, all of it is an absolutely legit demand which nobody can have, like any sane mind can have two thoughts about accepting it. But to insist that the entire conversation has to be telecast live is something which I don't think that Mamata Banerjee will agree to do, because no state, and Mamata Banerjee has risen through ranks, as we have discussed several times, would want to put herself in such a position, because you know how it works. When anything is going on air, then it becomes it's very, very difficult for the chief minister, and it's not such a situation or such a condition which has many would find which has enough merit. So I think the students are kind of overreaching their hand, overplaying the hand when it says that dialogue can't place until unless the state government agrees for a live telecast. I honestly, if you ask me personally, I don't think that will have any bearing, because rest of the demands of students are absolutely legitimate. There should be a crackdown on medical mafias. There should be a crackdown on people who are playing with the lives of the students and others. And there should be an absolute crackdown on anybody who is posing any kind of threat to the life and honor and the dignity of the doctors. That's absolutely all right. But to break down, to make sure that the talk can't take place just because the state government is not agreeing for a live telecast of the conversation is, I think, is taking it a bit too much.
Also, Brajesh, there is within TMC circles people who are saying that it's not mostly about the doctors, it's about kind of the demands that have been projected through the doctors. They fear that there could be a larger investigation on RG kind of medical colleges which could actually spill the beans, because we have seen that after RG there was a situation that happened in Siliguri as well. So questions will be raised, and probably more investigations would carry out, and more really embarrassing revelations could come out. That is the actual fear for the government on the ground, and that is what the doctors want.
But if this is the fear, then I think the doctors should, instead of saying that that if there's no live telecast, we will break down the talks. I think the doctors should be pressing more hard for this is to be the prime demand. I think, as I said before, all and any kind of investigation should be done to bring out whatever ugly truth is behind in the RG issue. They should be taken to task, people who are posing threat to the lives of doctors who are working there day in, day out to help the people at large. Any and every issue and any and every step that could be taken to bring out the rot in open, any and every step which could be taken to ensure that the safety and the dignity of the doctors are not compromised, that is absolutely all right. And the doctors should be pressing for that. There could be, I'm not saying that West Bengal or Kolkata police covered themselves with glory when the initial thing came out about the conflicting explanations about the extremely unfortunate death of the doctor, which was given to her parents. That was an absolute, the person who has given this must be suspended and arrested for giving the kind of false information. The assertion which was made by the crematorium manager that the police put pressure on him to cremate the body, strict action should be taken against those police officers. Pressure, and the nexus should be found as to why exactly there was an attempt to cover up. That's absolutely all right. And there should be an effort by the CBI also to crack down on this nexus, because you can alter the crime scene, but you can also work on to find the nexus. Nexus would be slightly separate from the altering the crime scene, and all efforts should be to find every single individual who was behind the cover-up, who misled the family of the doctor, which in my eyes, if you ask me, is a big, huge crime per se. And that they should be taken to task. But that should be the main demands of the doctors who are there. I honestly don't think that breaking talks, lack of live telecast of that conversation between the doctors and the chief minister is something which should be right there, point number one as far as this discussion goes.
Also, Brijesh, we have seen, the deadline for, or rather we can say that before the court in fact takes the matter on 17th. Do you think on 17th it will be some kind of a decision on this particular protest?
Looks like, Verghese, because if you look at the way the last time, the court was reminded or court was told that, that